weird with the intro, and I'm the only one that has to move now. It's not near as fucking cool.
I mean, I can't really fit through this side anymore, so.
It's because you're so fucking swole, dude. Listen to me, starting the podcast off right, unleashing a fury of F-bombs from a long day at school. Let's go.
Well, you can't do them there.
No, try not to. Unless I'm keeping it super real with the seniors. And all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole. Covering the good, the bad, and the shit that keeps us going. Straight from the head ref's table, I'm your host, Travis Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to A Forest Through the Trees, a cave podcast. Here with my good friend, my training partner, and the man of the hour, always.
Always.
Pretty much. Carl Lemaster.
Put me on a pedestal.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't notice last night, I officially changed my Instagram handle.
I did see, because I had to tag you, and I made sure I put the tag.
So it is now, I have gone past my raw powerlifting career days as Papa Bear, right. And now I am now known as officially Grumpy Bear.
The
and then
page just turned.
I switched it. I did the Grumpy Bear in the handle, and then where it says, like, you can look up by name.
Oh, yeah.
It's Travis Papa Bear Rogers.
Still Papa Bear.
Yeah, okay, so it works. But that means you have to fucking finally pull the trigger and do Coach Carl.
Yeah, unless you gotta fucking show me how to change it. I don't know.
This man is so not tech savvy. I mean, we run a podcast, and it's barely put together.
I plug things in. You tell me where they go. That's pretty much it.
Go sit over there and speak louder. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So our podcast today, back for episode 11.
This is 11. Yep.
Back from the bye week. Talking about coaching, relationships, and friendship.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty important topic to talk about.
I think so, too. I think it stems off of, we had an episode just on coaching specifically and what makes a coach. I think this one can tie into that one pretty well. I
do, too, especially considering the fact that, like, you and I have a very, I wouldn't say complex. Complex is a bad word. That makes it sound like it's bad. But it's a different type of relationship for sure. And I'm sure it's one that a lot of coaches and clients don't get together. You know, it's a double-edged sword. You're my training partner, a client, a close friend, and someone who typically, like, you're pretty much my right-hand man here at the gym. So, like, you wear a lot of hats, as do I. And so we thought this podcast would be a good one to consider. You know, there's probably other coaches with client relationships, and maybe not exactly like ours, but at least could, you know, take away from this conversation and at least open this conversation to talk about some of those things that are a little more difficult in that avenue of training and relationship-wise. So let's start it off, man. Can you coach a friend?
Can you? Well, I would say yes. I would say it is it's something you gotta, I wouldn't say walk on thin ice about, but it's something that, like, you are, when you're getting a coach,
right? And
you're like, hey, I want to get coached by you, but we're already friends. You are now changing that dynamic.
You are, and I think that's important to be noted too, because you're saying, like, in that initial period, like, relating back to our last podcast, we talked about, like, searching for a coach, your top 5 things and everything like that. I think some of that ultimately can be pushed should be pushed by the wayside, but does get pushed by the wayside in the fact that you said you're comfortable with a person that is close to your literal physical proximity already. Yeah. Hey, man, why don't you be my coach?
Right. You are now paying for a service. This person provides a service. You are taking them up on that. And, you know, there has to be some sort of divide in that.
There does. And I think that is a very difficult dynamic, which is why we're going to talk about it today. So I would say, like, from a coach's perspective, I've been coaching for I've been coaching longer than I've been refereeing.
Has it been 10 years?
It has not been 10 years.
Okay.
It's not been 10 years. I made sure that I didn't step into a full role of coaching until I had experience on my belt, because now I would help people, like, write programs and stuff like that, but I wasn't offering full-time coaching with feedback and all the other stuff. Because I'm also a very big person on practicing what I preach. Like, I talk a lot of shit about people who don't have experience. Now I'll be like, hey, fucking slide up in my DMs if you want one-on-one coaching after their first 2 meets. And I never wanted to be that guy. So, like, while I would put programming out there that had worked for me, that I had written, I wasn't offering coaching full-time. And I had worked with multiple coaches, both of which I didn't have personal relationships with beforehand, right? Like I didn't know them as a friend or anything like that. But I think one of our dynamics too, Carl, especially given the fact that you and me train so frequently together, I think you get the best end of the deal and also the worst end of the deal simultaneously.
Yeah, and I can probably speak on the worst end of the deal a lot.
Yeah, all right. So why don't you say what's the worst, and no holds bar here, dude. If you want to shit on my life, God knows I shit on the podcast on you like all the time. So if you want to shit talk, like you can throw some shade my way.
Well, the thing is, okay, it's a good thing and it's an irritating thing. I get the immediate feedback. I get like no hold back. Like you are going to tell me immediately, like, hey, that was shit. That was not what you usually do. This is what's wrong. And I'm like, yeah. Usually, I'm like, yeah, I know. I definitely felt like something was wrong there. I did this wrong. And it's good to know, like, you see it, but also I can know in my set, like, oh, that was not what I should be doing.
Okay, I want to hold you right there because that's an awesome point that I think we should break down a little bit more. Because essentially, you're getting what you're paying for in that moment. You're getting exact feedback.
Right.
But
to the like second after.
Right. So as a coach, I feel I'm doing my job properly.
You are.
Right. But but I'm not trying to say like, ooh, good job, I did my job. But like I want to flip it in your aspect. So let's say I do give you that immediate feedback, right? And sometimes harsh, sometimes great, right?
Yeah.
But speaking to a client perspective, does that have a foothold on that training session in the moment?
Oh, it can pivot it completely.
You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're feeling really good. You had a little offset. I dig in on you like, hey, X, Y, and Z, like, this doesn't look the same. Now you're like, oh, shit, well, I kind of came in here with a plan, and now you're rethinking things.
Yeah. And it's really bad when you're like, what you said, you're feeling like you do something, you're like, oh, that was great, and then you immediately get hit with a, well, hold on.
Right.
That wasn't what you think it was.
Okay. And I do give you, like, if, for example, if we're just using yesterday, too. I told you what you were doing wrong immediately.
Yes.
Like, you were rushing, and you knew it.
Yeah.
And you weren't holding shit at the top, and you knew it. But those previous sets where we started correct, like, I also gave you lots of positive feedback.
Correct.
Because I was like, dude, that was probably one of your best sets I've seen in a hot minute. Like, that was like your 5, I don't want to say 65, you'll correct, it's 60, right?
60.
560,
Don't
double
misspeak.
Double to the 1, right? That was a great set, man. That was an awesome set.
I wish it was 565.
I know you do. I do too. But it was still a great set. But I think definitely getting a coach to analyze you in the moment and giving you that direct feedback is extremely helpful in correcting as we go, which we did.
Yes.
But also the feeling of if you didn't have it and we have that client relationship of we are friends, all of a sudden it breaks that barrier real quick and you're like, fuck, there's pressure.
Yeah.
He's watching me now. I might fuck up today. You know what I mean? So I think in that moment, I'm glad you said that. I think it can change the dynamic and how you physically feel and mentally are prepared for a training day.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I mean, like, even when it came to... I think we should just start getting Andrew to hold my boards a little slower because that's what helped me at that one set, you know? Like,
oh, like when
he was switching my boards.
Yeah, instead of having the board ready, you had to actively sit there and hold with me telling you to hold.
That was a good cue.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, that was a good cue for him to just not do my boards fast enough.
It's not about cues, it's about survival.
Yeah.
Now you're just
have
holding.
to hold it.
Now you just have to hold it. No, that's a good point. But so on that track, I know I took it away from you a little bit, but that was an important point to break down. Where are we going after that, right? So you're saying, you know, as a client and me as your friend and also coach, where else are you going with this?
It's your job at that point as the client to make the changes. Yes, there's like, oh, your friend's talking shit during the set, like you can take it that way, but that's not going to do you any good.
And I do talk shit during a set. I talk shit every day.
You were running your mouth yesterday.
I was. But I was also amping you up.
And it fucking worked.
It worked. So I gave you feedback and I was fucking with you at the same time to get you to like push a little bit.
So in that sense, like you can take it as, oh, you know, my boy's just fucking with me and trying to get under my skin. But reality, like there's other meaning behind that, you know, and you have to, you know what's going on still.
And that's the difficult thing, I would say. And the best word I think comes to mind when you talk about those principles is navigation. right?
Yeah.
Can you navigate those in that moment and keep those relationships and things separate?
Right.
Right? You know when I'm egging you on. You know when you need to chill the fuck out and pay attention. Like, you know when you need to reel back and you know when to put the fucking pedal to the floor.
I would say that's majority that's on the client's side. Like, that's
Right.
their responsibility.
And I think that gets better with you and the client as you progress together as a couple. As a couple. Like, our gym love romance has blossomed into something truly special. But I mean, you also drive me. But I'm always glad to see, especially, and I'll speak to your part as Coach Carl. Like,
Yeah.
I know you and I joke a lot about this, mostly off the podcast, but I think we've put it a lot more on the podcast too. Like, we always joke that Carl is my coach, and Carl has the hardest job of all. It's not writing the programming.
No.
It is trying to get me to be relatively reasonable
And responsible.
and responsible, which no one's been able to do.
No.
Right?
I've tried.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
fucking
So,
work.
like, it has been one of my greatest attributes as a powerlifter
Yeah.
because I can fucking floor it.
Yeah, you can hit the gas pedal when you need to.
Yeah, I
And
can.
You can hold it down for
a
a while, too.
Yeah, and I've never had an issue with that. I've never needed someone to, like, give me that,
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
this push a little more. Like, I got that down, right? But your job of being, hey, let's look at the bigger picture.
Pull the reins back.
We're going to gas in 2 weeks. Like, let's make essential jumps we need, take what we need, and get out. Because we're going to go heavier in this span of time.
Right.
Because I'm always like, well, I could take another jump. But I will say lately, and definitely because of your influence, I have pulled back.
Yeah, you have, and I will say, like, it is also hard on me when you were like, no, screw that, like, let me take one more, and you know you can take one more, or I'm like, well, maybe I could take one more.
Right.
and then it spirals.
Yes,
and
then it's the friendship. That's the important part, because then we have friendship dynamic. Friendship has entered the chat, and it is fucking everything up.
And then you're like, well, maybe you shouldn't. I'm like, well, I know you shouldn't, and you just did, so why can't I?
Right. Now we're arguing in the middle. Our bromance has arguments as well. But I mean, that's important too, because I think we always joke in that aspect, because I say this out loud to you. As your coach, I think you should do this. But as your friend, it'd be really cool if we did
Right.
this, right? So that's that hard divide, especially when you have that close relationship with your client. And I've said this multiple times on podcasts. I am definitely very thankful and appreciative because I went so long without a training partner. For years. Years. Just training around people, like you and me train around each
And
other.
you did very well behind that, though. That
Right,
wasn't-
I did because I never needed the push.
Yeah.
You knew I would push myself. Like I never needed that.
Right.
But I also didn't have that safety net. I mean, safety net in the term of community, everyone spotting me, all that stuff. Yes.
Right.
But in term of like, yo, you should chill the fuck out.
Right,
I
like,
did not have
There's no
that.
need to be doing this right now.
Right. I did not have that. I would just do it. And I did that for a very long time until my body said, nah, bro, we can't be doing that all the time anymore. There's consequences to your actions and the worst kind. Anything else you want to add to that part before we move on?
Yeah, I was thinking about something. I think it takes a type of lifter to be able to have that dynamic, though, because when it comes to being on program with a coach, training with somebody or a crew, there's two different types. There's like, I'm going to walk in and we're going to do whatever we need to. Like, we have a general idea of what our week's planned out to be, and we can just do that. And so the whole back and forth kind of plays into that side. And then there's people and there's crews that need like a very specific written out plan, and they are following it to the T.
And I think I can speak to that for both of us. You and me do a good job at both. There will be blocks where you and me do not deviate.
Right.
We go to a T. And then there's other ones where one of us feels bad or something, namely me, and we have to freestyle it a little bit more. But because of the experience level I'm bringing and how quick you've been able to adapt and what you've learned, like I feel like when we wing it, we also can wing it responsibly.
Yeah, totally.
Like we can make it happen.
And that's something not everybody can do.
No, I think that comes with time and knowing each other, which really fits into the one point. I knew we'd jump around.
Yep.
We never follow this in fucking order.
Scroll down.
Scroll down. I think this is really important because this comes up in a lot of coaching feedback and talk between coaches is, RPE versus percentages, right? Now, I always thought for sure, like, okay, so most of your athletes, you don't know personally on a personal level when you start out with them, right? It wasn't
Correct.
like you and me.
Correct.
Right? And you get a lot of online athletes because not all your athletes are in state or local. So for me, RPE for that first block was always super important because it's giving me a lot more feedback than just the lifters, you know, promises, their weaknesses, their strengths, their goals, right? You do your intake forms, all that good stuff, but it shows you responsibility, right?
Right.
When you give them that first week of RPE, like, are they going to fucking shoot themselves in the foot? And you got to have this talk like, hey, it's week 1 and you pressed on the gas as hard as you can go.
Yeah.
And now you've shot yourself in the foot for the remaining 3 weeks of the block.
That also tells you a little bit, as you know, of the lifter themselves. Like, hey, this person is like about like they
Right.
want to.
Are they aggressive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they aggressive lifter or are they a little more reserved and cautious? Which I'm not arguing is one or the other better or worse. I mean, now I will say with my coaching experiences, guys tend to be a lot more foot to the gas and really hard-headed. The girls tend to be a little more cautious and listen very, very well and are more receptive to feedback. Now, I do try to differentiate between like the feedback I give, right? And not based on gender, based on how I've gotten to know the lifter.
Lifter to lifter.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know with you personally, like, I can be harsh. I can shit talk. I can, and you respond well to it, right? Not everyone does. Like, I wouldn't just, on a new client, be like, hey, this looks like dog shit. Like, you know, I wouldn't dig in on somebody.
Yeah.
Unless they've been with me for a while and truly deserve it. Like,
Right.
and you know, I have horror stories of coaching of people like,
I've heard them.
yeah, like if you're gonna pay for a coach, like,
Be coachable.
be coachable. Like, that's why I don't pay for a coach.
That's right.
Right? I'm responsible. I know I'm not gonna do well with it. But when we talk about that RPE versus percentages, it also ties into your big one I like that you asked me the other day via text, which was how long do you have to train or know someone or be around them before you feel like you can also help guesstimate,
Yeah, make calls for them.
make those appropriate
numbers.
decisions and calls, right? What do you think about that?
Well, I think if you're going to make calls for somebody, if they're asking you calls, which, I mean, it's happened to me in the gym. It's happened to me in meets where people ask me what numbers they should be taking next. And I don't know. I have not been around you long enough to make that call.
We have known each other for 10 whole minutes, and I've seen 3 warm-ups.
So I think you need some substantial amount of time around that person to know how they train, if they can stick through a lift, if they can't, if they... just how strong they are. If they're not strong enough, then you're not going to tell them to take a number. So you have to be around somebody for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I agree. And we're usually like, I think feedback between you and I with lifting, I think we have an advantage in that point where, and I mean, this doesn't just apply to you and me directly because we're in front of each other. This can apply to lots of athletes to their coaches, right? If you're taking, and this is where I'm getting this idea from. If you're taking the same jumps every week, working into your working sets like we do, and we watch each other, we know what that's supposed to look like on a normal day.
Yeah.
You know
definitely.
what I mean? And when it's off, you and me know it's off and can tell each other it's off.
Right.
Hey,
Yes.
dude, what's up with your left side? It's sagging a little bit today. Why don't we take this next one lower than we normally would? Is your elbow bugging you? Like, that's immediate feedback in the moment,
Yeah.
right? And as a coach, if you're getting videos like that and you talk to your athletes like, hey, what kind of progressions from, bar to working set are you taking? Are you mixing it up every week? Which they shouldn't be. They should get in a routine because you want to make it, even though they might not have a meet on the horizon, you're making it as meet-specific warm-up as possible so that way you can edit those jumps just a little bit, like cut 1 or 2 out once you get them acclimated to heavier weight and taking a little bit bigger jumps, where they're not taking like, if you're benching 300 pounds, you don't need fucking 10 10 warm-up sets to get there.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
A fraction of that.
So one of the methods I used was remember even with our top sets, I would say, and this is when we were using our aux work in AR.
Okay.
I would type down 6 to 8 sets total.
Yeah.
Including
Make
your
appropriate
top set.
jumps, yeah.
So like you couldn't get to your top set and go over 8. total reps.
Right.
Of
It puts
singles.
a limiter on it.
Right. So you had to figure out, okay, well, what jump did I take last week? Is there a better in-between choice I can take to make it there? Right? And that's one of the big things every coach wants for their athlete, right? Now they're making active decisions in the moment. Now they're figuring things out for themselves. And I tell you, the happiest day and the saddest day for me is going to be number one when old man don't got it anymore and you fucking take my total from me and you be big dick swinging biggest total in our gym. And number two, which I'll also be proud of. But number two is when I look at you and I'm like, this motherfucker don't need me no more. Like you as a coach, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but like as a coach, like you always, that's the ultimate ideal part of coaching. Like you want the student to outdo the master. You want them to progress. You want them to get to a point where you can say, holy shit, like look how responsible, look how acclimated to everything they are. Like they can run this on their own for the most part. Now,
yeah.
some people still want that accountability. Some people still like the, hey, I love that you program for me so I can just walk in, do my shit, and there's no thought to it. You know what I mean? As far as pre-programming before.
The coach doesn't have to think about what they're doing because they have somebody else.
Right, exactly, right. And that's why coaches get coaches.
Right, exactly.
Right? Because they also they like the accountability. They like to have those things already taken care of so they can also focus on their own training, which a lot of the coaches also are competitors. And side note, too many of you guys forget that shit. Like, me and my wife, we still like to live. We still like to compete. Like,
you have your own training days.
Remember,
training yourself.
Remember you, like, I hired you because, like, I like watching your stuff and you're smart and I like watching you lift. Yeah, I still do all that shit. So when you're, like, blowing me up all the time and you're like, well, I'm fucking training too, dude. I still enjoy this. This is the reason you hired me.
Hey, I'm in the gym right now.
Yeah,
I need to know what I'm doing wrong.
I like I said before on podcasts, like, you are your business card. Like, if you're hiring me, I still want to be good at this.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want you to hire some like has-been. Like, I still want to be doing stuff.
So another off-topic thing. You mentioned taking the total, big dog in the gym. What do you do if you're the biggest guy in the gym? What's your opinion on being the biggest guy in the gym?
This is a great conversation because we had this a little bit yesterday with Eddie. We have a new strongman competitor here, Eddie Pusey. He's Masters 2?
Master 2, yeah.
Master 2, yeah, he's 50. Really fun guy. We've been having a great time with him. But we all joked about, like, we were all benching together, and he's like, man, like, I'm just in, like, the low fours. Y'all are, like, in shirts, like, doing crazy shit. And, the old age...
Which isn't comparable anyway,
it's not. We're cheating. We're cheating. You and me aren't even fucking strong. We're cheating. But, like, the old age saying was, if you're the strongest guy in the gym, you got to find a new gym.
Right.
Right? And I looked at you and I said, well... Like, I've been the strongest guy in my gym, or most gyms around here, for a very long time. And I think that's where I said, like, when it relates to you, it's like, you're coaching me. Like, I never needed that push, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, it wasn't that, like, I'd be the strongest and then I wouldn't train as hard. If anything, I trained harder. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I always looked at other people and looked at, like, open powerlifting rankings and stuff, because that drove me for so long.
Right. You're a numbers guy. You like seeing the numbers.
I am a numbers guy. I like data. I like progress. I like percentage jumps. Like, I like measurements within the year. Right. How much are you progressing, right? How much are you stalling? Says the guy who's had the same deadlifting comp for like 5 fucking years now.
These hands can't hold anything more.
That's my favorite. That's like one of my favorite things. Me and Jess always laugh about it. When you go to like nationals and shit, and you see the big guys always drop their deadlift.
Yeah.
And they do this shit where they'll pull and they'll be like, and they get to the top like a rocket ship, and then whenever they miss it or drop it, they always flip their hands on the stage and are like,
they're looking at their hands. What happened?
You have forsaken me. Like, it's every time. It's the fucking best. Like, if there was the equivalent to people watching and you could just do powerlifting, I would watch big guys drop deadlifts every time.
Yeah,
it's absolutely hysterical. Like, every single one of them, look at their hands like their hand's a different entity and it's betrayed them. But I would say with, like, the thoughts on, like, the biggest guy in the gym, find a new gym type deal. Everybody on here knows you and me believe more strongly in community, right? So, like, I think if you look at it less like the strongest guy in the gym, And more so, do you still have the ability to learn?
Yeah.
That's big for me. I'm always still learning. Like, I would be mad at you if you were like, "Yeah, fuck this shit, I'm out."
Yeah. I know everything I want to know.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
gone.
in a dip. But, like, that wouldn't stop me from, like, reading on my own time.
Yeah.
Like, trying new programming methods. Like, adding new, like, I wouldn't stop doing that stuff just because you dipped.
Oh, you know me. I'm always asking you, like, hey, what about this? Hey,
Yeah,
wanna
you
try
asked
something
me
like
some
this?
shit, and I'm like, no, dude, shut up. Sounds dumb.
Sounds like we're going to get hurt doing that.
Sounds hard. I'm like, dude, I'm already super accident prone. Please stop. But I think it's more about the learning aspect of it. Like, can you progress around the people you're around? It doesn't necessarily mean everyone has to be the strongest all time. It just means, like, is your group learning together? Is everyone here to progress? Right? If everyone's in here pussyfooting and, like, not doing anything, then yeah, that's probably a really bad training environment to be in, right? Of course you're not going to be at your best, and you're going to be distracted, and the lack of motivation and drive around you is going to seep in. Like, it's I think it's more of one of those, if we're flipping old age sayings per se, it's one of those things, you are the company you keep.
Right. Or
Right.
like an old Louis saying, it's like, what did he say? Run with the lame.
Develop a limb.
Develop a limb.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree. So it's not about, for me personally, I'm sure there's differing opinions on this, but for me, it's not about being the strongest at the gym. It's like, is your group, is your team, is your small surrounding circle having the ability to progress and learn? And is that enough to keep you progressing at the pace you need to be?
Right. And in a shorter sense, you look for the gym where people care.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
you have a spot where the people around you care deeply.
Right.
So that's what you look for instead of just being the biggest guy in the gym. It's the gym where people care the most.
Well, I tell my kids all the time at the high school, I'm like, I hate strong, dumb people. That's like my least favorite thing ever. Like,
Yeah. You got to have some sort of like
if you got the
thought behind what you're doing.
yeah, like who's the guy from the Lenny and Larry strength, bro? Like, if he's like pet dog, like, and you're just like outlandishly strong, but like there's marbles rolling around up there.
It makes you think what that person would be able to do if they
yeah,
put a lot of thought
yeah,
behind what
yeah.
they're doing.
I'm like, dude, you better have a damn good coach, because I know you're not thinking about stuff up there.
No shot.
You're just going through the
No
motions, my
shot.
guy. But that's my thing too. Like, you need to learn. You need to read. Like, reading is such a lost art now when it comes to coaching, with programming, with learning, with nutrition, with everything. Because everyone's just like, well, shit, I can flip open TikTok and Instagram, and this hoe's going to show me some recipe that's high in protein.
Or some dude that weighs like 160 pounds is going to show me how to do a lat pull down different.
Oh, dude, have you seen oh, God, don't even get me started on the podcast on that. Have you seen all the guys, like, it's like 3 different ankle straps, like one's on the wrist,
Yeah,
one's on the elbow.
over here.
And then there's like an incline, and they're like...
Hey, until I see the studies, they could be right.
I mean, they could be. They could be.
But I do see a ton of those, and it makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
It's
That's when you got to hit them with a still not bigger than me.
physique checks out.
Yeah. It's true. So let's talk about what conflicts can come from coaching your friend.
Yeah.
How to navigate them.
What do you think the biggest conflict is?
Not being able to separate friendship and coaching.
Do you think that's ego based?
I don't think it's necessarily ego-based. I just think, like, it is hard sometimes for the client to navigate, like, he's talking to me as my friend versus he's talking to me as my coach. And I think it's hard, and I'm not putting all the blame on the client here. Don't get my words twisted. But I think it's very hard to navigate that in the sense that they want to hear something in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches aren't mind readers, right? So I think sometimes athletes in their head, if they know you personally and you're close, they expect you to know, but you don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They expect you, like, hey, I want this, good job. What's up, bro? Like, feedback as my friend versus corrections and things as a coach.
Right.
But ultimately, like, when we're in a training environment, coaching comes first.
Exactly.
Coaching comes first. That's the service you're paying me for, despite us being friends.
I feel like, in that sense, get the coaching out of the way, get your lifts out of the way, get your workout done, and at the end of it, be like, hey, man, let's sit down, let's talk, let's hash out, let's see
Yeah,
what's going on
I think-
behind everything else.
Right, and that's truly how you solve those problems. You have to communicate with your coach on both those levels, both the coaching level and talking about the lifts and form and corrections, the technique work, all that stuff,
Right.
but also like how you want to approach maybe situations where you're at odds, right?
Yeah.
Like how you would approach that and how you would like to see that have an outcome rather than let it like boil over and people get mad at each other.
Right. And you can't just be like, well, I wanted you to say this instead, because that's just not going to happen.
Right, like they don't, and again, like nobody's a mind reader. They don't know that. Like, and I will own up to it too. I've made mistakes as a coach where I've been a little too harsh because I thought me and that person were more comfortable on that level, and I was wrong, and I offended them, and kind of got like,
You live and learn.
yeah. So I mean, of course, I apologize and stuff, but like, it's really hard to kind of know that, especially within those first like couple months of being together.
Right. It takes a long time. We talked about before, like you see the first week and it's RPE and the person like overshoots crazy and you say, okay, well this person obviously like has like a gas pedal they like to push, but it's going to take longer than a week for you to determine if that person can take that type of harsher coaching or that more like gentle guiding coaching.
And I think the same too, and with it's not just RPE too, because like you could say like, hey, I need you to work off conservative maxes, right? Like what was the lift you hit at the meet, your most recent meet? That wasn't like struggle bus 1,000, right? Because you'll have people that won't talk this through, and they'll be like, well, I pulled 600 at the meet, but it got 3 reds.
Yeah.
Well, that's not your max. Right? That's not a completed lift. Like, so if we're aiming at 6 and we're having that as your plug-in number of percentage, basing your other reps and volume off of that, like, yeah, it's going to be hard and heavy and probably break down and form faster before we can critique and fix those things.
Yeah, and I feel like as a lifter perspective, if you're newer to it, you're not going to think about, hey, I should ask this question. You're going to be like, oh, well, there's a plug-in percentage. Let me just take this number because this is what I had at the top, Mm-hmm. That's just an experience thing where you got to be like, well, my third attempt deadlift, yeah, that was a 1 rep. I got it up, but it was 3 reds. Your second attempt is probably still a 1 rep max.
Right, yeah.
Like, you're not going to be taking that. And that's an experience thing. That's something that you should talk to your coach about.
And I think that's a better way to approach it because then, of course, like in the next 2 weeks, if it really does look easy on that percentage scale, you can be like, hey, let's bump that plug in just a little bit more.
Right.
But we're not overshooting right out the gate.
And from a coach's point of view, too, or I should say from the coach, you should be presentable to be open to questions that people can ask like that.
Right.
Like you don't want to come off as so closed off or like harsh where the person doesn't want to ask you a question.
Correct.
Like you should be able to ask anything you need to a coach you're paying money for because that's what you pay them for.
And that's what like I preface my coaching with. I'm like, dude, like when you pay month to month, like that is your month. Like that covers programming, talking, like one-on-one video demonstrations, video tech talks and breakdowns. Like, if we're doing a water cut, you shouldn't. But if we're doing one, like all that kind of stuff, it covers it. Like it's your month.
Yeah.
Right. So like make sure you, within reason, take advantage of that month.
Right. So it's the responsibility of the person to be like, hey, I need to know everything about this. But it's the responsibility of the coach to be able to be presentable in a way that questions can be asked.
Very well said. Yes, I agree, 100%. I was thinking about this today. How would our hypothetical? How would our training differ, Carl, if I was not your coach?
Like,
and we were just like, they turned us off the leashes, bro. They let us out the collars. We're running naked, wild, and free.
I think
bro.
You would get hurt a lot faster.
Okay, yeah, true.
Do you mean like, what do you mean how our training would differ? Like different.
Like, do you think it would? So obviously, you think it would definitely be more reckless.
I think you.
But like,
more reckless,
where?
Yes.
Okay, so where would you and I go for programming? Like, I know both of us enjoy reading a lot. Would we try to construct one together, or would we find like some old Laura Phelps conjugate?
I'd probably run back in time a little bit. I'd probably go back to some Stone Age conjugate programs.
Okay. Like some base stuff and then tweak it?
Yeah, I'd probably go back to a lot of basics.
Okay.
I'd probably keep it as basic as I could.
Okay, that's fair. Because, I mean, I think a lot of people don't know, like, I don't think Yumi posts lifting as often as we used to. But me and Carl bodybuild a lot.
Yeah, we do a ton of
A
bodybuilding
lot
work.
of accessories, man. A lot. And Miso even more nowadays because I'm doing the compounds once a week and then bodybuilding the rest of the time.
Yeah, and how's your recovery doing off that?
It's been way better. It's been way better. I'm very sore today. But then again, we haven't gone this heavy in a while either. So, like, I knew that was coming.
We're both in our ramping stage right now.
Yeah. We're accommodating to the weight right now. I also haven't been in a suit that tight since like March. So I had some pretty nasty rug burn and bites on me.
So we're doing a lot of bodybuilding work, and there's reason behind it.
Yeah.
Like obviously, yes, we're better recovered throughout our weeks, but also like you're putting a lot of size on too.
You are
Like
yeah.
and the more muscle you can put on, the more size you can put on, the muscle stores energy. So in turn, you can translate that over. You're just gonna take some time to learn the movements. I'm not gonna say learn them again, but there is a transitional period.
Yeah, especially if you gain a lot of weight and your leverage has changed.
Right.
Like, so I've probably put on my meet in March. I weighed in at like 214, 215 tops.
You were a pound under me, so you were probably 213.
213. Okay, I know Dots was high. Like,
I was pissed because you got a pound under me. And
You're right. You're right. Okay, I do remember you being mad about that. Seems to be
I was like,
a revolving door.
I knew you were gonna beat me on total. That was a given. But I was like, damn, and he weighed less than me, so it's gonna be like crazy Dots too.
Yeah, sorry, bro. But now I'm trying to be thick daddy and roll through doors. So I've been sitting around 229, 230 the last week. So I will be making my debut as a lightweight 242, just to keep a little more weight on, not be as dried out, and like I want to hold a little more.
Is this you announcing that you're signing up for a meet? I don't think you said it
that
you're signing up for it.
Did I say that?
I don't think you said
it
it
out loud.
You said you're making a debut as a 242. That's what I heard.
Like 8 years from now.
Okay.
It's gonna take me 8 years to gain the extra 10 pounds. No, I have been considering doing Carl's meet with him. So what was our agreement? We're gonna take squats on Sunday.
We're squatting Sunday, and if it all goes well,
I will put my off day at school Monday, and I will sign up.
That's right.
And that's what,
November 8th and 9th.
Yeah,
You'd be on the 9th with me.
Yeah, 8th and 9th. So
7 weeks.
Yeah, 7 weeks for
7
both
weeks.
of us. 7 weeks.
I'm trying not to I always count the weeks down, and I'll make an Instagram post, and I'll put in there oh, I'm 8 weeks out or I'm 9 weeks out. I'm not gonna do that this time. I'm just gonna let the weeks ride, and then it'll go faster.
Yeah. How can you be a good friend and hold somebody accountable? I really wanted to talk about this topic because we have friends that we watch on Instagram.
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
those are not good friends.
I love you as a friend, but that's the reason we don't train together.
Yeah, we see some funny stuff on there. So if you're holding somebody accountable, like if you're training with somebody, and say they're taking a squat and they come up out of it and they're like, oh, that was insane, crazy PR, and you kind of have to have a responsibility to be like, hey man, yeah, you moved the weight, but that was not anywhere close to what you should be doing. That's going to hinder you more than it's going to help you right now.
Yeah, depth was not there, and if you keep doing that, it will not be there on meet day either.
Right, the bar is rolling, you're 5-6 inches high, your knees are caving in the whole way through. Nothing about that was good, besides the fact that you hit a 5-pound PR or something like that.
And I think that's hard because, that's not where a coach is involved. That's where friends and those you train around are involved. Excuse me. Oh, it's been a long day.
Somebody forgot their caffeine pill.
Dude, yeah. I just drank this, and look, I literally noticed the top, it says no caffeine.
Oh, there you go.
That was your job. I thought you were bringing energy drinks.
Yeah, no, I skipped it today.
But I mean, we do see people, squatting high. My biggest thing, especially when you got in a shirt, was not touching the bar the whole time. Because even though the weight's super heavy in a shirt, by touching the bar the whole time, you'll see me kind of wrap one low finger open. Mm-hmm. So if I have to grab it, I can grab it quick. Yeah. But we're talking full hands on the bar, almost guiding it, dude. And guiding in a shirt,
it gives you so much assistance.
Such a big deal. Dude, it gives you such an advantage.
You're not learning as much of the shirt as you could be.
Yeah.
Because it's giving so much assistance to where the bar travels. You're not like, as soon as you get your hands off of that, whoever's on the bench is going to be like, they're not going to know where to go. The bar's going to be going down, but they don't know which way to take it. They don't know what to feel in the sense of like knowing where they are.
You have always helped them find that groove.
Right.
So now that they have to find it on their own, it's a totally different ballgame.
Right. Essentially, you're handing them a map with everything drawn out where it's got to go by holding onto the bar the whole time. And then once you take your hands off, they don't have a map anymore. And so they're just walking blind, trying to find out where they're going.
Very good analogy. That was really good, Carl.
Thanks.
That's pretty good. Was that a blind joke? Because I can't see.
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
It should have been.
Are you taking shots at me?
It should have been. Can we do this again?
Do we redo the whole podcast right now?
For this one moment, we'll call you blind.
I think when it comes to like keeping people accountable, to celebrate like big victories and small victories, it's a very emotionally bonding thing, right? So like, for example, I always celebrate the small victories now. Like, I catch myself dapping you up, dapping Bo up. Like, a lot more, even though it's shit I'm going to bully and, like, blast through.
Right.
Because I never know if it's going to be, like, my last time doing it.
Yeah.
I really don't. So, I try to enjoy those small things more often. But I am still open to feedback. And, like, especially in the way of, like, safety-wise, listening to you, like, you've been very good about, like, hey, let's take this incremental jump here this week, here next week, maybe take a little more, but go one less board, and not just like, hey, let's jump 100 pounds and just touch that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably could.
I have confidence in you that you could.
Yeah.
But that's going to overweigh like the good and bad of the situation. Like you can do that, but it's not going to prove anything right now.
Right, and weaning yourself into that harsher situation is always the best option.
Right.
Especially when you're coming back from an injury.
Right.
Which I always am. So,
like you could, I think I said it last week where you were like, well, I can take this, or you wanted to take like a 700 squat, and I was like, that's good right now. You could have, but it's a random Wednesday. Why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to take that on a random Wednesday when you can plan it out and have you can set yourself up for success in a different way?
So what did I say to you? We're going to take 717 this coming Sunday and then call it for a week, and then it'll be our first week back in a full kit.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because I wanted to take this in wraps and briefs, and if that was a smoke show, I know I'm going to be good to go for the suit.
That's right. Which I think is a great way to take it. That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a
because
smart way to
I always easily get over 100 pounds in my suit, like no problem. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited for that. I think one of the hardest things I wanted to talk about, I don't know if I wrote this on the list or not, is like not client retention, but like how to save those relationships if you are friends and a coach of someone and they end up leaving. That's a rough one.
So you can't take it personal. So I say that, but if there are personal reasons why things didn't work out, then that's hard to not take personal, obviously. But people drop coaches all the time.
Yeah, agreed.
People leave coaches all the time, and it's for, I would say most of the time. I don't know the stats on this, but I'm just going to spitball and say that it's a financial reason why you're leaving a coach.
Most of the time, yeah, I would agree with that.
And you can't be mad at somebody if they need to get their finances in order.
Right. I agree. But to simply take a break for like an off season or something because they haven't signed up for a meet, I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and me and you have talked about that.
Because like off season's your prime time to communicate with your coach and do more volume and have a longer time to work on those techniques and fixes you want to prepare before you get to prep for a meet.
Right. I mean, there's two ways to look at this whole powerlifting thing, and like people have their off seasons and their on seasons, and that's great. You can do the work in the off season and then peak into a meet for your, when you have your season. And then there's the side of powerlifting where we're all doing strength training. Like me and you, we are strength training this whole way through. And then when there's a meet coming around, we'll take a peek. So you can call that an off season. I wouldn't call that an off season, but for the people that do, that is when you should be getting all the work in, and that's when having a coach is more. It's better opportunity to have a coach rather than during a peak. Yes, the peak's important, and you have to have a coach for that too, but really you should be coached the whole time. That's I don't know. It sounds like a run-on sentence, but like.
I mean, I agree, though. Like, it is very hard to, especially, like, let's say you've gone through this off season and you haven't been working on these different form critiques and things you could have been working. Now you're in prep, which, determining on the experience of the athlete is, 12 weeks at most up to, like, what? I mean, we peak in shit. We peak in, like, six. I would say 6 with a deload. Like,
yeah.
So 6. But... 6 weeks out, that's a little tight to be like, hey, let's adjust some stuff right now. Let me get some feedback on what I could be doing differently. Like, that's always one of the hardest things I have when I pick up clients and they're like, hey, I want you to help me. I really want you to coach me. I've already signed up for this meet. I'm like 5 weeks out.
Right.
Can you help me peak? I'm like, yeah, I can help you peak, but I'm not going to want to change a bunch of stuff and throw you through the ringer before you go do a meet. Like, after when we start working together for real, yeah, of course.
Right.
But like, that's very hard to do, and it's for that same reason. If we're comparing them, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have the time with that load to change up stuff, right? Because like now we're talking about getting into openers, conservative seconds, right? Those aren't the attempts where we're like, hey, I think we should take our foot placement out. Like, that's not a great time to be deciding, you know what, I think I'd do a little bit better in flats.
Let's go one finger out on the grip.
Right, yeah, like none of that is appropriate timing to try that kind of stuff. So the off season is key, man.
The off season's where I've heard, this is not my quote. This is something I heard on Table Talk. So they were talking about like the off season, drag race cars. They're taking the car apart. They're cleaning every single bit of that car. They're refining every bit of the engine. They're getting every piece back to where it should be. And then as soon as they're ready to race, that's their peak. They're running into their peak, and they are going to race. So everything has to be refined before they get to the drag strip. So it's you have to clean everything up when you're not competing, so that when you get to your peak, it's go time. You're ready to just dial everything in, make everything perfect, train very meet specific at that point. You can have some variation in your off season with different bars, AR, all that. But as you get closer, you're going to start getting closer and closer to very meet specific things.
Right.
And you have to dial everything in at that point. There's no changing what you have there. You should already have it done.
Yeah. It's not a 2 birds, 1 stone situation where you're like, we should try to do both of these things and knock it out all at once. Yeah. Like, that's not a great idea. It's definitely going to not be in your favor. And your coach is going to hate you for it. Like,
they're going to be upset.
Yeah, they're going to be upset because like it's like you're working against them and yourself.
Yeah, you're swimming upstream.
Yeah. So what is with this fad of like people hopping coaches? Have you noticed that? Like, I feel like a lot of people hop coaches very like soon, and of course I've been a victim of it. Like, okay, so I talked about this a little bit on one of my stories, and I wanted to send you a snapshot of it. I had so many coaches DM me back responding to that and be like, this all day, 100%, fire emoji.
Fire emojis, yes.
Right? Hot heat. But like,
spitting fire.
Yeah, like, it sucks when you as a coach feel like a stepping stone, right?
Yeah.
Where an athlete, and I use this term loosely for some of them, an athlete. Sorry, that's brutal. Do I feel strongly about this, Carl?
For no reason, you threw that in there.
Just stab. But like, using you as a stepping stone, where like they can't get their life together, they have other things going on, which is fine. Everyone should have a life outside of powerlifting. Everyone should have a life outside of powerlifting. Period. Right? But like, if you're paying for a coach and you can't give the time, you can't give the dedication, you're scrambling to give the money, right? Your sleep pattern's off, you're eating like shit, you're partying on the weekends and staying out, and when you know you got a heavy squat on Sunday, like all these different things, relationships, moving a girl in, moving in general, right? Like all these things are variables, right? All these things are added variables to the larger picture of training. And what happens is they try to go through these variables once they've hit a hard spot. Hey, I'm not making progress anymore. Hey, I'm backsliding. So they go through these variables, and usually the first one they pick is coach.
Right.
Well, I'm stalling out. It must be my coach. This program is not working. And then they bail on the coach. They'll go through like 4 weeks of like barely going to the gym or like doing some half-assed workouts. Some of these variables dip off, right? The move's complete. They've got their sleeping schedule back to normal, right? And all of a sudden they feel good. Then they hire this new coach. And then a month later, they're hitting all this good stuff and shouting from the rooftops, dude, my new coach, I'm finally glad I have a coach that cares. I'm finally glad I have this, the X, Y, and Z. Like, dude, you didn't get a coach that is the end-all, be-all that knows fucking everything. You just fixed your variables. You finally fixed what's wrong with you as a person and stopped being fucking lazy and got tired with your own fucking shit. And now your coach, your new coach, is reaping the rewards of you putting all your shit together. And your puzzles and your pieces are back to normal, right? Nothing is worse on a coach. And like that sucks because I know we talked earlier about this. Like you can't take it personal.
Sure.
But like nothing hurts worse than seeing an athlete get close to doing something great and making real progress and then not looking at the whole picture and then blaming the coach for it, right? When it's variables you can control, you need to check yourself first, right? And talk with your coach, just like you said, open communication with your coach. I have this going on. I have this going on. I can't get this right. Like, can we scale back to 4 days? Can we scale back to 3 days until this blows over and I feel better and I feel more routine and back to normal before we try to put on the gas again? Not blast through the program, still feel like shit, not tell your coach, and then fucking ghost them.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is wild.
That's a great way to say that. I think that point of view stands on its own very well. Like that makes sense. On the flip side, we spoke earlier in the first 15 minutes of this podcast saying how it's good to learn and continue to learn. Everybody has a different way to do things. There is a general way to do something, but everyone has their own takes and their own different way to do something. So I wouldn't say jumping coach to coach is a good thing ever, but I would say learning from more than one person is a very good thing for you as a lifter.
100%. I back that 100%.
I'm not saying to jump coach to coach. I'm saying get more diverse in how you take information in and from where you're taking that information.
It's really funny you said that because one of the people who responded to my story is somebody I look up to and I enjoy talking to. It's Bryce from Calgary Barbell.
Okay.
So he DM'd me and responded to my story. And of course his started with, what if? What if they did learn something from you? And now that they got all their shit together with this new coach, they're applying the things that you so drastically tried to beat into them about lazy, about variables, about getting their shit together.
Yeah.
Which is a positive spin.
And you won't know they're doing that.
And you won't. And that's the worst part because you still lost them as a client before you got to, for lack of a better term, reap the benefits, right? And the benefits being seeing them get where they want to go.
Yeah. And I guarantee in the middle of whatever movement they're doing, they might have a thought like, oh, I remember being told this by so-and-so.
So that is a hard thing not to take personal. But I'm glad you sent some because I do see the flip side of it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think I'm just angrily shouting into the void and like I'm about to fuck this story rant up. Like I do understand the flip side of it. It's very hard when especially if you've worked with the athlete for a long period of time to watch them go and then you're like, do you really know if they picked up what you were putting down?
Well, the easy way to tell that is if they continue to grow from that.
That's true. Do they grow?
If they continue to get better and grow, not only as getting stronger, but getting more intelligent in their training. That's the easiest way to say, hey, maybe I gave them a good stepping stone, even though you don't want to be a stepping stone.
Yeah. And one of those big things too, just like you're talking about, are they learning? Are they doing? Other thing is maturing as a lifter.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Maturity comes with the learning portion of it. Like, are you making better decisions? Are you skipping those bad decisions that you previously made? Are you learning from those poor decisions? Like, hey, I took this one day, I wasn't happy with it, so I didn't tell my coach, and I secretly took another max effort day that I was happy with. And then when you send it to him, expect him to be like stoked on it.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Like, cumulative fatigue's a real thing, dude. Like, that's going to bite you in the ass really hard. But, like, are your lifters growing? Like, and that's very hard because, again, it's your job, like you said, to be open for dialogue, to be open for discussion, to be that person they can come to with questions. But, like, we're really on the old saying kick here right now. But you can only lead a horse to water for so long. Like, you can't force it to drink.
Yeah, you can't make it drink.
So you can tell them that shit till you're blue in the face, but, like, it's ultimately up to them if they're going to follow it.
That's right. At the end of it, it is up to the person to actually, because I mean, you're coaching the person, and I don't know what your stance is on this. When you have a client and they put up a total, is that your total as a crew, or is that their total?
No, never as your total, dude. Like, I'm the first one to tell a client, and they're like, dude, thank you so much. Like, we earned this. I'm like, no, dude, you earned this. I was just a dude doing the math in the background, right?
So going off of that,
I want my clients to take pride in knowing that they did the work for that total. Right. I would never try to take that away from them.
At the end of the day,
you're a different story. Everybody else on my roster, you did the work, you put it in, you are the man/woman, you're the shit.
You're the star.
Carl, I've built everything you fucking stand upon.
Without me, you are nothing.
You are shit.
So, going off of that, I know you're lying.
I'm such a liar. You're the first one I fucking praise. Get out of here.
The total, the lifts that the client is putting up, that is theirs. That is your work. That is your own thing. So, care about it. Like, care about what you're doing in and out of it, and who you build relationships with to get where you want to go. Agreed,
man. It's all about relationships, whether it's within the gym community you're lifting in, whether it's your small circle of people keeping each other honest and safe, and whether it's your relationship between you and the coach. It is all about relationships in powerlifting.
Yeah.
It truly is. That's why we got a great one.
That's right.
Do we? Do we? Question mark. That's the title of the podcast. Carl and Travis. Do they though?
Do we?
I think that wraps it up, dude.
Yeah. Do you want to close it out? And your closing remarks?
Sure. Let's give some good shout outs here. So shout out to our sponsors that keeps this podcast going. Might even give us an extra $7 whole so we can go from what is it, $12.99 a month to $19.99 a month and add one more hour.
Yeah.
So we don't have to crunch time every time.
This episode's got to be 54 minutes and 53 seconds.
Actually, the last one we ended on before the bye week, we had 6 seconds to spare on our accrual time. We actually checked before we got on this podcast. It was that close.
Had to do some clipping on
it. It was like when an hour and 2, an hour and 3, and the last one's like 56 minutes on the dot. Yeah. So there's a reason for that. But shout out to our sponsors, John Flagg, hell of a human being, and actually just benched 615 in his single ply shirt, right?
Saw. Very
John,
nice bench.
We shout you out. Me and Carl are so proud of you decided to learn how to bench. I love that man. But not only is he a great guy, an amazing coach, but his book, Foundational Strength, is out now. I believe it's on Amazon too, which is clear, no bullshit, intro level to intermediate, all kinds of stuff in there that help you go from where you want to go with not only your own lifting, but how you describe things and break them down as a coach. So if you're looking for another really, really good read and you enjoy the paperback, I know we got it also digital. John Flagg's book, Foundational Strength, and his coaching is where it's at. Shout out to John. We missed you down here, buddy.
Go expand your knowledge. Read some books. Get this one.
Read. We talked a lot about that this podcast.
Right
Fucking
here.
Go read. Our man, our local Supdog sponsor, Chris Northern, right? Firefighter, EMT. He's the man doing strong strongman, sponsoring all kinds of events, doing meet and greets. He is putting out an A1 supplement and doing a damn good job doing it. He is all over the East Coast right now, and we are super stoked to be part of that team and sponsor our podcast and provide me and Carl with pumps for our little shenanigans and our workouts that we may or may not be on program for.
We need it.
We do need it. So we're still using what? We're still using the non-stim with the caffeine supplement. Yeah. So we try to reel it back. We save the stimmy stims for when we get more into a peak and we actually need it to kick our ass. And last but not least, new salts coming soon from my man Liam, who owns Zone Smelling Salts in Canada, has been with me for years and years and years, giving back to the Children's Foundation, sponsored the pros, sponsored nationals, sponsored strongman. He's done it all. He constantly gives back to the community, and we would love if you would constantly give your money back to him because he is the man and makes a hell of a product, which I also design all the art for. So, thank you guys for tuning in for podcast number 11 now.
Number 11.
11, man. 11 to go. Or not 11 to go. That would be 22. What happens at 22?
Dude, I don't know. We'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, we'll find out, yeah. Halfway there, just something we don't know about. But with love and grumpy paws, we're out.
We're out.
Ah!
Go ball.